apart or anything. This is another John Deere 50, but the radiator is bad in it. That's where the radiator would be. This one does have power steering, so it's got a bigger pedestal than what mine has got. And we do have the new core in the radiator already. But the main reason I decided to grab the camera is on the tube for it. Now this yellow part up at the front here is he's got a saw rig for it that pivots on here. He uses it for cutting wood. But anyway, what we're up to is about the same deal as I did on mine, only on mine the pipe is 2 7/8 OD. This is only 1 7/8. But you can see on the end it's pitted pretty bad. And there's some spots inside that are almost all the way through. Won't have enough light in there for this camera, but and there again, it's a case that John Deere, well, this one's like a 31-inch pipe, and John Deere gets 210 bucks for it. An 1 7/8 OD, and it's about a 65 thousandths wall. And the shorter one, that's the lower pipe, is bad too, but that's just got a normal end. Except in this case, it's all rotted away there, but both ends are rotted pretty uneven. So the bottom one's an easy one to just cut and put in, but here we've got to nose them a little bit like I did on that bigger one. And of course I don't have any races the right size, so I'm going to get set up in the lathe and I'll show you the piece when I get over there. So what I've got, this is actually a spacer out of it's a manure pump that they use on farms to put in a pond and pump the manure out. And this was actually a sleeve originally. There's not supposed to be any grooves in it. It's supposed to be just a smooth surface. But there's 2 double seals that ride against it. And over the years, with all the crud riding on it, made some pretty deep grooves in it. Well, it is small enough ID that I can use it. You know, like I mentioned, I didn't have any races the right size, go through a 5-gallon pail, and this is the only thing close enough I had. So I'm going to cut it off and then make my taper inside. But this is hardened just like a bearing race, so it will be solid enough to take a little more to do. Reason I'm cutting it off and turning it is it's got this O-ring groove on the inside where it's sat against the shaft, and that's deep enough. I should measure it again for the heck of it. I think it was deep enough where I wouldn't take it all out. Pretty close, but not quite. That's real good. It's wore, it's got taper on the outside too. May have to get the dial indicator out and tap it around. Where I had it the first time, I should have left it. That looks pretty good. taper it out by hand. Taper out a little farther. What I think I'll probably end up doing is go back another 1/4 inch or so, maybe about a 1/4, 1/8 inch at least, and give me a good starting point for the pipe. Get my 1 7/8 OD there. Without bumping the tripod. So it'll probably be good for my OD. Form it just a little more on the inside, a little farther back. Ridge in there yet. Shows up in the camera, you can still see a slight little line, but you can't feel it at all, so for what it's for, it'll work just fine. Now I can get the pipe cut off and get it set up in the press and see what happens. We got this set up, but we have to turn the mic on, so just going to try and add a little bit here. 31.5 inch pipe. Slide the sleeve up around the pin so that it's against the well. Feels like it'll end up pretty straight and everything that way. And we'll go ahead and try it here. Once I get her moved down a little bit, and we'll line the pipe up a little straighter and everything that way. Probably fast forward through most of this because you can see it in the other video anyway, or I already saw it if you haven't watched that one. And I did the one for my 50. Here, actually, once I had it straight, looking like it was going straight, I probably could have pressed it all the way on, did it in one pass basically, but kind of like to take it off and check it every now and then, make sure she's curling even and everything that way. And I did machine the piece, like I mentioned before, I did a slight radius to it, that's why I was turning the piece freehand. Can do it with a straight taper, it does work out alright. That's basically what I did on the other pipe, but I wanted to try doing a little more of a radius on this one to see how it works. That should probably do it for now. I'm going to fast forward through the rest. on a rod in the vise, a piece of square tube actually. This is one did the taper on. Ready for paint. Well, it's a little dark for John Deere green, but it's what the spray bomb was. So close enough for what it's cast for. Pieces that the pipe goes into. This one sets up on the radiator. This goes down. Well, this model actually has a thermostat in, where mine didn't. And you can kind of see in there where the O-ring groove is nice and shiny yet. That's the lower straight pipe in place there. Just keep it back far enough to get the upper one very good. Actually, when I taped off the ends, when I painted it, I went a little too far. I didn't want the paint under the O-rings. That pipe actually moves back and forth in the pieces there to center. And that's kind of part of their design for an adjustment that way. Plus, on the, it may not show up real well. Yeah, it looks like you should be able to see it. This pipe actually sets at a little bit of an angle to the piece it goes into. So that's another reason with their O-rings. I suppose if their casting on the main frame is off or anything that way, it gives you a little adjustment. Well, she's back together. As Michael Reggie commented one time, the shop foreman must be happy with the job. He's up there sleeping now. At least till they started up. This one does have an alternator on instead of a generator. These are the ones they have brass tag models that supposedly worth more or whatever. The neighbor that's got it, it was his dad's originally. He's got there for adjusting the belt tension for that buzz saw attachment that goes on the front. And a little bolt winch up here is what he uses. He flips her up when he's going through the woods or anything that way. And the pulley back there is where you run the belt from for the buzz saw. Thanks for watching.